Ethel? Ethel? Yes. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna take a look into the system right now. Ethel, this is Dodi Begay. I'm the person controlling the Zoom on my end and also all the audio equipment. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna do a quick test. So if you can hear me, go ahead and let me know. Yes, I can hear you, Jason. The music, they said, is really loud. They can't hear us. Can you hear me? Test one, test two. Test one, test two. Okay. Can we turn down the music and then we'll just try the microphone alone? Test one, test two. Can you turn off the music real quick?
Which one is it? Is it
It's the environment, the big sound system one. How about now? Can you hear me? Test one, test two. Yeah, so we turned it off. So if you can hear me, test one, test two. Okay. You're welcome. Yes, Dodie, I'm here. Yes. I think that'll work. So if you guys can just leave your camera on and we can see you, that'll be great. And I'll try to get your picture shown up here so it doesn't move or anything like that.
Sure.
Yes, I'm gonna go test from another microphone, and just give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me, okay? Test one, test two, test one, test two.
Mic check, test 1 2, test 1 2. Ladies and gentlemen, please start making your way into the Wellness Center here and find yourself a spot. We'll be starting just in a couple of more minutes here. Candidates, please come up to the stage and find your seating spot. Visitors and guests, please come in and find your space and spot on the bleachers and the chairs. We're going to be starting momentarily. Wadina gushin ko hagato leligi binigya ko iya ajod no pito alkan hasal ado de no jege ko de utat no pito alkan hasal ado ko iya wadina gushin ko iya ate neto de.
Okay. Yeah. So those kind of okay. Yeah, she's still giving the rules and stuff.
Ado na shik ade ya hokage ko ajod no pin alkan hokado alkan hasal ado ya hinide chindo adat es bala jot ay behes anko. Ado nat animi yete no chege ko de tlatot no pin ko de hije nas tkhanago wadina go ko do ate neto she ya gato. So just a couple more minutes we'll be going ahead and starting our forum here. So I'd just like to ask each and every one of you to come in and find yourself a spot. Please do practice social distancing. Make room for each other either on the bleachers or onto the chairs. So please just give us a little bit more time and then we'll be going ahead and starting up our sessions here. Don't head net be get there quite I still not get the KTNN KCCY FM 107.3 because that I said not those of you that are listening from KCCY 107.3 ahe ada ko ashe hahagi hodina go beniye ko do ta not to leto ko do shay hinat ani hata lehige ko do hata hatsige sado ko de do ito hat aben hat nazla hagi beniye ado KTNN AM 1660 and also KKNS FM 101.5 adata isnot angel to hehe konza eya nichel kono londo shil to out ekodo nahat adata to into hit I nakhanta hati anigi kodo sheni English channel de letter. So those of you that are listening on the radio in all three stations, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here with us. This is our forum that we're going to be doing, and those of you that are live stream on YouTube, thank you for joining in there as well. We're going nationwide, global as well, actually. Our forum's going to be broadcast around the world, so thank you for joining in at that point. We're good. Yat shadanesh kwe ade hawkagi. Wadina go kwe haljish to dedi ben yahshosh nopi. Khana hasal ado da jiz. There's enough chairs, enough space on the bleachers. Visitors, guests, please have a seat. We're going to be starting momentarily. Find yourself a place to sit. There's some chairs. Space on the bleachers. Candidates, please make your way up to the stage at this point. We're going to be starting in just a little bit. Welcome to Navajo Technical University, to the Presidential Forum. Thank you for being here, each and every one of you. Welcome to Crown Point, New Mexico. Yes. All right. Welcome. That's going to be my big opening statement here. Ado hier zu der Anotsko. Shdeneshik kon khaiso khagi. Is also ultra so anige ko yan khon sonike. Yat do hier and all the candidates. Thank you for being here with us, each and every one of you. All the supporters, thank you for being here with us. Live stream radio people out there, KCZY, KTNN. And the other radio station, KKNS, that's a tongue twister. Thank you for tuning in with us, and also on YouTube Live. So we're going to be broadcasting worldwide as well. So welcome to Navajo Technical University again. Franklin Elliott Inishige. I'm one of the professors of early childhood multicultural education, and I'll be serving as your master of ceremony. Ada troche tlini enschle kis ani de nama iteshgijne epashchin trachini to tashache but ane tashanal ado lakachegrede inachaniya. So thank you for being here. At this time, I would like to call upon Deidre Deswood, who will be doing the invocation for us. Kodoshe ya Deidre Deswood shema so the zingi yan ha ile tole.
Yat anotko. She Deirdre Deswodin share. My deshkijni slant raban bashichi troche glini dashe trotsoni dashnan. She bestot is des ahade nasha a kundet la 10 kanadetne. She mado shajay mo ella Deswood do during King Willia. She masana doshiche a Meros Deswood will yende do Peter H. Deswood Senior will yende. She nalla do shanalla has tea a Louis King do Lorraine King will ya do Freddie Yazzie do Lula Yazzie will ya. The a could a sonschle. Kodoshi a alt is a god so does in behadest a bens so geht Aroshe a kodo Navajo Technical University the a instra mechanical engineering do industrial engineering gi a instra. A short and nicha nacha kodasle at Ashwad. Kohajon do Shamana Hastan, she's at the yen Lini, the yen the net, and not Lini. So Aunt Rabik Ahajon do let Ashapik and the long ha ate, shut a ate, na hokoste, ni ya ni haka, Hajon do let. Nahastan, Benina, Benit Edole, Kone Jonigo Nihidene, Neha Daste, Neha Alchinet and Ligo, Koneha Daste, Presidential Forum de Nigo, Ebenie, Kon Neha Daste, Nejonigo Betrayat at Echo, Tabnatole, Nana Nihidean, the Nebekea, hazoigi not ani yande jehgi ben teke stop it's is na jonagob betzil go ansin dole nicha olcha what the hub betziliki nichinat ani alto a large nachata sataniki alto betz is stop and teke stop ina na jonago betzil go ansin dole hala nilego nicho olcha nichanaga Ado nichiden ne hawante dot ode da is agi dot up and natliki nicha blessed dili da belchene da banal tloshi da ben tikkes da betis betzilko ansindo shite in the ne hala nasko yetat edo lelto nicha atat edo lel Na kunne shmato shjado belheje to betrayadat ego dole betratnzil dole sin ade akede nita chwangi do bata hatzidiki to nihits ajeko akonisin dole akon jonego nane katole akode Chiendine Hajonasli, 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 Hajonasli.
Thank you, Deidre. At this time, I'd like to call upon our president of the Navajo Technical University, Dr. Elmer Guy, to give us the welcome address. Kodoshen hinat ani kwa ultrasa anigi kodoshen yai ni hichahat zitoshen yai kwa bahosh atole. Shana.
Thank you. Yat ben khano yahagi. Nalishtel trap mahenschle ado maidish gizni pashischin. Trohet lini dashen nala ado torichini dashiche. I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Navajo Nation's Presidential Candidates Forum. NTU and KTNN, we are co-hosting the forum this evening. I'm thankful to Mr. Cisco Benali, General Manager of KTNN, and his staff for working with us on this important event. I'd like to welcome our presidential candidates that are here this evening with us. Thank you for accepting our invitations to be here. And we look forward to learn of your plans for the future of the Navajo Nation. We have many challenges and problems facing the Navajo Nation that need to be addressed. We also need to ensure that our culture and language is a vital part of the heritage going forward. Since you're here at Navajo Technical University, I want to share a couple of things. Every year, more and more of our people are going from high school into college. Similarly, from college on to graduate school. We have recently at Navajo Tech had students go on to our master's degree programs here, Harvard Medical School, University of Georgia, University of Arizona, University of Idaho, and many other higher education institutions that offer doctoral programs. But our nation still lags behind the average educational attainment in the United States. And yet, there are many programs designed to help each one of us to succeed. Even our biggest challenge, economic development, is truly an opportunity. One of the things NTU is truly proud of is our research laboratories designed to further economic development on Navajo. I wish all the candidates good luck this evening. We have an opportunity to vote for the candidate best positioned to help the Navajo Nation. And the task is to reach for a future that will benefit all Navajo today and tomorrow. Thank you. Let's have a productive forum.
I'd like to introduce the 4 individuals that have been selected to be asking the questions for the forum. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is Miss Jasmine Charlie. And she is going to school here as a biology student, graduating in December of 2022 from Chechiltka Student Senate Treasurer. I'd like to also introduce to you Dr. Wesley Thomas. He was one of our former members here, from faculty member here and administrator here as well from Mariano Lake. He's one of the retirees from NTU, so thank you for being here with us. The other person I'd like to introduce to you is Rita Capitan. Sapi Kinney. She is currently our Crown Point chapter house president for us here. And before, she was the Gallup-McKinley County Schools for 37 years and also in Crown Point. So thank you for your service. And then also I'd like to introduce to you Brandon James. Did I get that one right for you? Sanajini. Yashchin from Kintachi, Arizona, majoring in Diné Culture, Language, and Leadership. 4th year, Brandon's in the bachelor's program and graduating in December of 2022. So these have been selected to be the individuals. So we have 2 community members, former administration leaders in our community, and 2 of our NTU students that will be asking the questions to our candidates here. So dishe kodo biki hodini to ya batnel kodo ay naite kidi gishen date kido leti ko ni nat ani date je biniya hot ay biki hodini she kodo hot ay ya ni hich jani ishla to le to hich be hosa sin to le. At this time, we're going to be going into our introduction of candidates. So before that, we have some house rules, ground rules. You got random selections, assignments here. You got at least 1 minute, candidates, to introduce yourself. And Mike McMillan over there will be keeping track of time for us because of how many individuals we have and the time. So we're keeping it down to 1 minute. So some of you may have to share your microphones. So So we're going to start off from this end and move our way down towards the end. So the first person is candidate Dinebanali.
Testing, okay. Gat et ist ose, shikero shene, adano tayid, hano kai, hano yagi yat e, shet nebenali and she, the Nebenat Ani Bayeshwal, president of the Navajo Nation, shikeno klini, by cancer, by Helen Cody, again Jesus, God, he blessed me with a beautiful wife, with raising 4 kids, Adokon, education, Ishla Lo, with a master's degree, engineering. Adokon, the neck, we built roads and justice centers and roads and schools for Indian countries. This generation now, we've been electing good people for the past 30 years. So now we need a leader, and I'm your leader. I want to bring us out of poverty. I want to bring jobs and opportunity for our people. Vote the Nebenali. Thank you.
Next candidate, please.
Yate, Shike Dosha Dene, Dosha has Tui, Dosha Sani. I want to thank Elmer, President Guy, and also the NTU staff. You guys did a very good job in putting this together. She Greg Bigman yen she, but Ani Nishlan do Torich Ini, Bushes Chin, there's a Thanadash Che, do top on Hanash Ezedashanella. There's a few things that are important for my platform. One of them is decentralization. Part of the problem with our government is that we don't have enough money that goes down into the grassroots level to meet the needs of our people. When you look at what's going on with Navajo, you know, everything from the social problems to education to veterans, these are problems that can be solved with decentralization. Second part is really coordinating all the efforts of government, business, and public safety. So that way we can protect and preserve Navajo for the future moving forward.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Yad esh gedo shidene she ya Dr. Rosanna Jumbo Fitch yinishye yo dene torich eating nishle my dish gijni bashish chin tabaha dashiche do deshini e dashanala chinli dan nasha ado kwegi di the nebanant you see logic iki yinishwat ado benachegi ya nihi dene ba nihi achine ba nihi masana do nihi che do nihi salato do nihi mato di nihi jeba ado ato nihi de nebekeya bekaje do de nebe nahatinigi do di de nebe Washington di behes anit you kwege shana nishto les niha behal beshana nishto les do benache yinishwat do shikedo shadne Yad eko nasko yikato do yehes de snido le yehens hago shne do shike.
Thank you. Next candidate, please.
Yad shik shitene she trahasil. Atahis ade Nahano Yado Koenihin Naligi She Ya Earl El Sombrero Ginishia Nare Ha Dego the Nabelhahot Zode Ade Nahawent E. Tsapi Ken Hol Yede Nasha Ado in the Da Ya Kilti Ni will Yegi Nishli Be Bithot Ni Bashichin. Kia ani dashe dot is a land dashenale. Tsapi ken has anki hog is a dahan slog at neznana hedoi which it hold jish. Akoho e yaba ahoni zengi do han so big it eat honey big aho e kodoi shwal. Ako e nare wa be tara hot zande e ad la inishiki nare akod.
Thank you very much. Next candidate. It's a sensor, so once you get close to your mouth, it'll sense it on. Restart the clock, please. Go ahead, sir.
Yat shikedo shidene Justin Jones egin shige. But ahne don en shletkanes zani bashish chin kilchini edashchi ashi edashinale. Kodona hat abeyi khaget abahazniye. Dinihin sahakis donihin hat be I nadel inigi adopes nedinit ziligi betsa ahnarebik hojonit linigi hajot yai kwepa andikha beta nadikha kodon hisodezen kebis labe nane khatol nihyaltkha nihysalao so ende dade nihnahat betjeben sekes anade inilzen dole abahazniye khashet alpeten neto no benaidol kit khayuje. We say in our theme is that we are going to protect and preserve our sovereignty. I'm here to empower you at the local level, to support you, look for money for you to use, and to defend you, not to work against you.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, please.
Ja, can't. She has twice as Zani. She cares the Shebet anin snedosk at zoida she na kaidene da shenal kachini da she. Shelchenation hedat ek eyedak egoyat enan hit snedolel. Frank Deish hot a yaha nahat abendis. Aroben sit zenigi yahadinat ilin hinazit igi hajoba honit zendobik aho nashibenane katolel. Arot ahi anhik endi darolel. Aron da dina nishkan chat. Ajit ohat a yaha la nanit zen. Aron da dina yaha naz tahagito betendel nishtolel. Aro da nani tlenigito yaha ni hizat behonez nanigita nilzeno nashi benane katolel ni torzen bol ta so hot idati neho aro den hitnaz ande kota del sede tonaz kande yaha kodo be nash aro ho khada hitol ho bedanit
All right, we're going to change the game of plan here. We're going to go on to our Zoom. We have two candidates that are on Zoom with us due to COVID restrictions. So right now, I'd like to call upon our candidate, Ethel Branch, to go ahead and introduce yourself. You got 1 minute.
Yat shake dasha dinesh Ethel Branch yansha. Being for twitney nishlin na kai bash chin sitna jenny dasha che don na kai dashanale. Akotao dined son nishlin. Kinthana ke hashtin do East Canyon Diablo det nasha. I lead the Navajo and Hopi Families COVID-19 Relief Fund. This has provided over 500,000 of our Diné people with COVID relief in the last 2.5 years, including over 10 million masks. Prior to that, I was the nation's 11th Attorney General. I'm a 3-time graduate of Harvard University, where I received my bachelor's degree in history with honors, my master's in public policy, and my Juris Doctorate. I'm running to be your Navajo Nation president. My platform is centered on 6 things. 1, pursuing Diné-centered nation building. 2, reclaiming our government for our people. 3, ensuring climate change readiness through a national defense branch of government. 4, building wealth and opportunity for our people through land reform. 5, healing our community from intergenerational.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, Bo Nygren.
Yarat shidene aro dais no tsangi do hodon dais okay yat hirilish de hodo Bu Nygren and kachi din shlon nada so the South Vietnamese people bashish chin do todichi ni da shecharo South Vietnamese people edashanale aro basli nash inige not ani hos do how zoje ye hawan aje not ani la Jasmine Nygren le hashlishnin lo mado jani tlin le Red Mesa Arizona are kehunite Bish what ye des card in that case when so tripan shadal yan does tanigi a ship bansis case or do bansid a case it oi highlight all the years those twido sanjing hold aj highlight all hajo asa not anada ni on jonon khadazno nani khato queen zon hadal eben yesh what should an add on a thinigi slaun das is Dr. Bu Nygren that of needle later.
Thank you very much. Returning back to the stage, next candidate, please introduce yourself.
Yate, welcome everybody to this.
Move the microphone close to you, and it's censored, so you don't need to just let it pick up your voice. Reset the clock, please. Go ahead.
Yate, Ashihi Nashlan, Tohoglini Bashichin, Sentna Bitli Che, Hohogani Nashanali, Zayai Nasha, Leslie Sosi Nashna. I live in Standing Rock, and I'm Diné here in Diné Pekea. I'm a student that is going in for my doctoral, had mini education here on Navajo Nation at Navajo Technical University. I have a bachelor's and a master's with Diné Cultural Language and Leadership here. That has brought me in home to learn and be with my people. I also took the MLS at Oklahoma University to help with our treaties and how we can work with them in our future endeavors of getting back on track with our lives here at Navajo Nation. I appreciate all your time and all my colleagues as well as all my people here. I also like.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, please.
Yate. Well, it's been 4 years. Emily Ellison Kohn Nishne Yate Anosco. We've experienced a lot of change. COVID-19 has changed our lives. And I think it's a teacher. It's letting us know that we're not delivering for our people. And we need to do a better job doing that. Shay na kerinen shlo hatoi bashish chin do kia on a dashiche do bet ani a dashinale. Lekin hajonda do jajal na sha. Currently, I'm an executive director for Battered Family Services. Our nonprofit has a budget of over $1 million. We have clean audits. We have survivor services, offenders, children's program, rental assistance. So we're looking for ways to help. I'm number 6. I appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, please.
Yate shiketo shitene. Ayesa Kutashina Shaw, Crown Point, New Mexico. She former state representative Sandra Jeff Nshia. Sana Bethian Shia Tchini Bushes Chin Bash Ishanale Auto Torich Ini Dashiche. Shajado Shama ya the late Sam Jeff A. Mariano late Dan. Auto Shama and Jeff A. Vicente. Dan. Oko She I'm running for the Navajo Nation president because I'm a proven leader. I represented you in Santa Fe. I brought home the bacon. I brought home what was needed for my people, and I will continue to do so. I am for education, for our chin, for our children. We have to take care of our grandparents. Infrastructure, economic development. We have to come together to work together to make a difference. We can't fight among each other anymore. President, executive, auto council delegates, we have to come together. It's for our people.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, please.
Yate Donake Kevin Cody when she do the Jojita that Janice and they get on. Oh, that's all. Chishid and then slow is a funny bushes chain. Dust edge touchini, a dash che. Aro touchini, a dashanale. Back it baho zande Asiaho. Ade, Disdeen, Ade, Ado Istkador, Ado Nashnisho, Hota Hol Gij, Ado Deep and Yesh with the Aya, Nanishata then had no, Ado Tsalado, bitch in the Huiz de Order, Haja Tsala his Kayhanile. Na Kayadan, Ha Ishinikit Yahishni. Do chodo beja ne aho one be inaya aho banda dilia.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Alane, she the Nash has twice on it. Alchinis is okay. She Dr. Dolly Manson, Dashijine, narrates it Jean, de in Hania and Sahod, yet a coton company, ye. In nahat abel ndish nagi ya tsada yego ultragi nahash dol ni an hin hizado an hin nahat aigi betli selao nlede ke na end at abi selago kode nebetra hota ultragi adon ultrada joda the netan lini da ultradok ade do kut eda akon halchindo kede dan hit nila elchine be bitnel ahgi ya do kwanas kida belagana be bitnel ahgi de ya en hitchinda nilchin bichinda nilbenina ya do all at dan hitchine she yego bendeshne bitsas lego adol lago na hot ego ya na kikon daseta ya.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Ish Erosh Nadi Jonathan Nez on his Nashi Ain't Lido, Tkanesan Abashis Chin, Twitch da shiro tkachini da shanala do bet ina ish inigido consta fulfillionaires tropan lont lizatlana yashin dona kaidene da bechedo ai da banala so yat edan hidi nido les anashik eno leni aro adnini ta kon ha et ishin hil ya ishni yokonde askai je shik eno leni asano ta asano zno ahot a ekna bi chini kha niheda tshik eno leni nihe kodon hitzil le kda kwel degona aste eben na chikon naso ne jedeni kashik eno leni eshi ben hitzil aro kwado infrastructure ninigi din todo besle chi da naskuda do nichuk at aje hol ji shikero shidne din hi besh bahas andan oslin dan lenigi kodo DB 0086-22 be lanta do lesta be do no ebini na kodo na nashwat Nes for prayers 2.0 that he need all this.
Thank you very much. Next candidate, please.
Yat can you hear me? Yat Shikedo Shidene. My name is Frankie Davis. I'm Kinyaani. I'm born for Tachini, Ashchi, Dashiche, Ado Nakaidene, Dashinala. My vision as the first Navajo Nation female president of the Navajo Nation is that our nation becoming independent of the federal government, because we have a vast wealth of natural resources, and that is called Ahwe Akiradesti. We live on little Saudi Arabia, and that means wealth for everyone, because you, every one of you, are very, very important. And it also will fix the needs that all of you have.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, meet our candidates. Question ya Hans a she dat alta kwa is so the zindige ben ye hit in ya dat die neto e bella kwa de til ze khade che Cohen hinat an in Linda Edward TPK joy kwa be na panast indige ben na che kwa ya ba kwa de til ze ben yeso. A moment of silence for our former leader of Navajo Nation, Edward TPK. So let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, we're moving on our little agenda here. We're going to be moving into our questioning piece. There's actually been a committee that's been formed that have written and selected the questions, reviewed and edited and sent them out, sent them back in, and went through the drawing board so many times. These are the questions that we're going to be asking our candidates of. So our 4 people that are up here, they're going to be asking the questions. So, kodoshe ya night kidige hatalia. Koen das kans do ya hajobik in that et do hajon at ket natnel. Aud ya ita yikans. Kodoshe ya iti de jege nate kito des kwe. Dingo et ke has kode kwe bigije nihinat ani hona has tani bigije ahas nel. So we've randomly put 4 into each 4 categories, and the 4 categories are education, social issues and impact, infrastructure, and leadership. Asian kwe e ya tingo ke hona anige dishin e bigije e night the kidi salado le kwe says anige oho a she kwe het ai ben hat nas lage de tatidits in ado ko the nebeke ya bakao ko ni het hot edo Hashit I come like nil deto height I in Hanat inigi Jaquashe ben ye nana kedo the nana kato there. Ado the anhinche the ne Washington spitzes a leg quite out an nishiki joy infrastructure Kodoshin top and night a kito there. Ado kidding dinat an it lenigi leadership. Did our ke begit night a kito there. So within the groups that have been identified right here, within our group of education, we have Sandra Jeff, Denebanali, Earl Sombrero, Jonathan Nez, you will be receiving the education questions. The second group, social issues and impact, we have Greg Bigman, Justin Jones, and Boo Nygren. And then we also have our group 3 in leadership. We have Kevin Cody, Leslie Sosi, Rosanna Jumbo Finch, Emily Elson. In our fourth group for infrastructure, we're going to be asking the questions for Frankie Davey, Dolly Manson, Ethel Birch, and Frank Dayish. So we'll be asking questions in the 4 areas to these 4 groups. So they will be asking the questions at this time. So we're going to be starting off with the education group. So in the education, we have randomly selected Dr. Wesley Thomas to be the one to be posing the questions. Education sa anigige e kodo ya delt ego bijib tha education kodo ya at ke hata zitoi. You're all going to be given 3 minutes. Khada hal jinjishen ko epat it to let asa in the zanako kodo shapen hat age patata dits. So Dr. Thomas, whenever you're ready, go ahead and propose your questions to the individuals.
Pelakana ki pelakana chini chitesh kha kwandanat et nachi ki tae benos ada et nek achin ki zati tatidits. Both the tribes, tribal colleges and universities have land grant statuses, conduct research and provide a higher education opportunity for the Navajo Nation. How will your administration ensure the future of our 2 tribal institutions of higher education, namely Navajo Technical University and Dene College, receive adequate financial support for infrastructure and program expansion?
Question goes to our candidate, Sandra Jeff, for your response.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for the questions. With the state of New Mexico, we have established funding for NTU as far as the state servants tax bond. Even at the federal level, though, money comes from the federal government to help with servicing NTU, and we're talking about the land grant. We can also build and expand NTU as well as other tribal colleges, and I support that because I want to sit at the table, work with our local leaders to make these things happen for our people, for our students, for our staff and faculty. And that's what takes leadership, is working together and make sure that we come together and to make sure that these fundings that we get from Santa Fe, who I work with, the leaders there, and at the federal government with the leaders that I work in Washington, where we lobby to secure these fundings so that we can make this become a reality for our children and our future children when they want to attend these kind of schools here, such as NTU. So I'm very a strong advocate on that, and very a strong advocate on infrastructure, because that's my priority as a consultant, and then also being very aggressive as far as infrastructure concerned. I know that NTU always has a priority list, and they always fulfill those priority lists. And so I really well advocate on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nebanali, same question.
Yate nan education ne. We have all these higher education, NTU, the next college. What else do we have? I had a brother here. He graduated from here. I think he was the first architectural individual out of NTU. His name was Wacy Martin. He graduated last year, but the problem he had is he had health issues, drug abuse, drug problems. and he died of drug overdose. That's what's happening in the world that we have today. The point I'm making is if we want to bring resources to our institution, we have to make sure our people, when they get out of school, they have to have jobs waiting for them, and have them become successful. So when they become successful, they can reinvest into the institution. And we can't continue to keep getting on our knees and asking for welfare from the federal government. Our institutions need to develop research and development programs, to research medicine, to research food. Under my leadership, that's what we're going to move forward, is to look into research and develop, use our people to make sure that we research it and we provide the proper, find the new invention of medicine and food out there, because this that is going to be a top priority. And we have the land, we have the water, and we have the workers out here. We can do this. And if we do this, we can generate revenue for our schools, for ourselves, for our people, for our elderly people, for our veterans. I see it. Do you guys see it? I hope you see it. We can't just keep looking at the federal government. We can't be looking at the Navajo tribe. Look at our people, our children. We can do it. But we need to make sure we help them along the way and not have stories like what I told you about my brother, Wacy Martin. That's the truth. But for president of the Navajo Nation, we can't play games anymore. Like I said before, we've elected good people for over 30 years, but we need to elect a leader, and I'm your leader. I'm a builder. I help build schools here. I help build justice centers. I help build roads. And if you can't, and if you talk about bringing money into an institution, you need to have good roads, right? You need to have good electricity. You have to have a good school. I know those. I know what needs to be done. And you have to be a manager. You got to know how to manage your people. This Gina, we're lacking that. But with
Thank you very much. Next candidate, same question, Earl Sombrero.
Ani ya han so shi old cotton lini be in the hasti ado in the ta ya to eat ya be na hot ida the ne the chin da old kagi ade na ka na nation lini ba den lido in the ta ya ya ho it's lahaki to yin na to yin zenda a cohort ni kwai ke ya hata host so old cat bakan ta has nel was a bed lepe in a hatchin da cat or eta hui dol art han so ben tech his that the no says ben hat at that or less in the da ya be ya ye na ate to little in the ya ta hot no sees a base be a sins and go jo hot out ya be pa how the di no she ya hot han that the day ya hold jish a cohorty to yashin educate at Edanson. Han so nal so san lenny be agatat est anna ebeni nachin e hajope son lenny what's in do lady yahan so et hatahoistogi han so your torture hahotzo in the yahos docha hahotzo ado in the and the rake naikre has ante. Jo the based on Lenny Woods and the Ado in the to quite old has anki, yata old trao, has ada, narrate an hatchin keta hat eat, the dot hand so 80 patient tech case in Lenny gitch old trao, jo hot out papo honat za hot out at han so narrate o to the rande na hata il deal hot out at a coti that which present any guessing the big the net out has hot and his a hate out or hot out but city case to hot out for the ata hala hot za to the run got out or lap in hata il deal hot out hashit au e to ban si case that's it out saga hot zan has angi equate ya nsi case na reset ya dat ito te neke hat e the art bebel enta has ito bebel enta huit e to ban si case ta an hikote saga hot zan det eta huinit a hajo e ate te ne ohoni pa nato yes Ben Zacchaeus be nezeni khala be na be nahaz khan son Zacchaeus nahat la na khwinzen khojo pa khwinzen lenigen seta kes okhot khajo pan te to kin son pan Zacchaeus.
Thank you very much. Next, Jonathan Nez, same question.
Yat e nana are daisono tsagi do tanihinalgi. Kodo lan hinanish edeliagot ekon Navajo Technical University. Alanja dasintagi Dr. Guy here la Kodon hibeshmas andan linigi do Kodo Alanja Vice President Lizer do shi alka nature ho e kon kin adal ne kon need e ya nakhal chin e ya kon aqua da ultra do le do kin basa do le no ahot beso babja lia do kojido ni teachers dan linigi ya ajido office space academic building do ni no bayatio kanda aj need lej ha e ba he ni zin hot la kishna an shot la na dani zinigi ta do ni chik eno lini do kondo ni khal chin Rodeo College National Finals, Jitu na Kikon Hachin, Rooster Yazi, tie down, Hayo Yazi, do steer wrestling, Ek at Aja Tra, Nakachin Yego, Nakadat, Edo, Nakayadat, Tiot, Eshk Enoslini. So Ashi Kodo, Di Ninit Kodo, Dr. Wesley Thomas, land grant status, Yehat Z. You know, we should be leveraging that land grant status for many other projects here on the Navajo Nation. Let me just also say that there's a trade expansion building that is going to be going up here. You got a dormitory that's going to be going up here. You got an academic building, a metrology building as well. So when I hear that there's nothing happening here, I beg to differ. There is some great leadership here with the president, President Guy, and the board, and many others. You know, I've been here many times for graduations, and to see our Navajo students succeed brings encouragement to me. As you can see that there is still a lot to be done here at NTU, and not just here, but all our tribal colleges. Funding from the state, we lobbied heavily so that we can bring funding here to Navajo Technical University. As you know, there's salary increases for our teachers, right? In state schools. Now we got to go and get salary increases for our BIA and tribal control schools as well. And we also need to look at the long-term needs of our culinary arts program here, state-of-the-art, our veterinary program here at NTU. A lot of things have been done, and the continuation of our partnership with NTU will continue with your vote. Ladies and gentlemen, please vote position number 10, Nez Na, Nez for prayers.
Thank you very much. We are going to be moving into another section of questioning, which we call the individual questions. So Dr. Wesley Thomas will be posing questions for each individual person. So individually, you will be making a response in 1 minute. Dr. Thomas?
These are the same four that just spoke.
Question for Sandra Jeff.
Questions are pertaining to the education question I initially asked. So Sandra, I'm asking you, describe how you will increase the level of scholarships available to students who deserve a formal higher education or vocational education, including high school, GED graduates, and adult learners.
Thank you for that question, Dr. Thomas. Akoshe, again, working with the state of New Mexico, out the federal government. You have to work with the federal government. You have to work with the state of New Mexico, state of Arizona in order to get anything done, because there's an obligation. And that obligation is to make sure that those fundings come straight to our people because of our students, because of our census. Akoshe, I want to ensure that we follow different protocols and guidelines, just like how the state of New Mexico has it set up for the lottery scholarship. I will work again with our local leaders, with our president here, with the other presidents within the other tribal colleges to ensure that we lobby for that funding, that we lobby at the federal level too, and at the state level, so that we can make it convenient for for our students. It's for our students. And because a lot of them are not succeeding, let's help them. Ashone, thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Thomas, question for Deneb Nali.
That one is the Navajo Nation cannot afford to lose highly qualified, educated workers necessary for nation building. Our college graduates tend to leave the nation and do not return. How are you going to reverse the trend and begin to attract the best and brightest to fill the job markets on the nation, considering Navajo preference in employment?
Testing. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, Dr. Wesley Thomas. I have a vision to build a private hospital, so we can bring more doctors, more nurses, more technicians. Because the fact of the matter is, we don't have enough Navajo people with MDs. And as your leader, I understand that. Second, agriculture. I have a vision, that we can produce meat and food for the world, use our land, use our water, use our resources. And then I want to develop a housing manufacturing so we can produce over 2,000 homes every 6 months. It can be done because we have all the trades here that can help us, from engineers to from using the blue-collar workers. My plan can help move our economy forward. And the Nebenai that I know for President of the Navajo Nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Thomas, question for Earl Sombrero.
Okay. Second, okay. Education at all levels has experienced a mass exodus of teachers, administrators, and support providers. How will you address the educator workforce shortage on the Navajo Nation for public, BIE, and private schools?
Ado in the echo one has anigido edo ho one bata holonigido by bat daniki benina ato do akon the has tada. Ado latin renza that eta holonigido edo nezagon da kaden zenido benina jot o hayugo ebe in hot on benikas an hot ako do ba honizenda. Ako jo ko dat ego da e bahasht eliado bahasht el zeno jo hot ashit e ya pohanet zanson ban seskis.
Thank you very much. Dr. Thomas, question for Jonathan Ness.
Okay, the question is, the national graduation rate is 82% as compared to Native American graduate rates of 70%. What are the specific steps will you take to increase the graduation rates on Navajo?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Thomas. You know, there was a question about scholarship, and our students shouldn't have to worry about where the money is coming from in order for them to get an education. You know, we are looking at forward funding for scholarship. I saw my Nelly here, Russell Begay, come in. During his tenure, we were looking at ways of bringing in BIA funding for scholarship. And that way, our scholarship students do not have to wait for their scholarship when it's time for them to be in school. And I also proposed $50 million to develop a scholarship. And the provision in the $50 million is that our young people will have a position in Navajo Nation government for them to serve in their capacity. And also, if there's a repayment loan program, we should be bringing our young.
Thank you very much. We're going to be moving into our second group of social issues and impact. The candidates there will be Greg Bigman, Justin Jones, and Boo Nygren. The question will be proposed by Jasmine Charlie. You'll have 3 minutes to respond, so one question for all the candidates first.
Okay. Elders, youth, and veterans are typically promised services by those seeking positions of Navajo Nation leadership. What will you do differently to ensure campaign promises are fulfilled for the people's benefit?
Candidate Greg Bigman, please respond.
Testing. Elders, youth, and veterans have been made a lot of promises. And this really boils down to management. This is a management problem because what this means is that they're not put as a priority. So in order to focus resources, you really have to collaborate with whoever's the leader in charge. That's one. Two is to make sure that they're competent and they know what they're doing. That's two. Three, hopefully find somebody that aligns with the same mission and is passionate with the plan that I have, which is putting people first. So the big thing that inhibits a lot of these, when you look at the structural problem, is that they say there's no policies in place. And the policy problem is very simple. You have to find an attorney to work with these organizations in order to put together a plan. You got to match up these organizations with business planners so that way they can have direction with what their mission is, what their vision is, and how they're going to be guided towards the future. So this is no different than when you think about planting a cornfield. You know you want to have a large cornfield. So you start making your plans with how big your size is, your crop area, and you analyze it and you assess it. So these professionals that would bring on to help support these industries, they're very talented and they see a lot of the same problems over and over. So that's one way to start fixing and prioritizing these problems. So the big thing with elders is that a lot of them, they're being abused. There's a lot of stories about them wanting to come home, wanting to live within their areas of their grazing permit. Part of the reason why is because when they're moving off in Navajo, they don't have the same support structure. COVID has pushed a lot of our elders out, and we need to bring them back home. So we need to not only have elder care, but we have to look at how we start to have those services in the home. There's a lot of good that is going on within Navajo. This is with Daltech, Alltech, they're providing very good services. We need to complement these with outside funding sources and look for the private sector in order to help complement services. That's the same with the youth. The youth, they're suffering with a lot of trauma because of what has happened with COVID. They're suffering from depression and suicide, and this is something that is underrated. Veterans, they're struggling. They have a broad, diverse set of problems everywhere from housing to not having the adequate medical support. And even the females, they say that they have to travel from their place all the way to Albuquerque or down to Phoenix. That's an inequity that is being faced by our people, and these are the disadvantaged communities within our Navajo government. So we need to identify these problems and help provide the support for it. That's how I plan to do it and solve that problem problematically.
Thank you very much. Candidate Justin Jones, same question.
Hat ida pets spa shide has pahazen shik eden doshidene. Shedi se lacht so unsle, a stla shnache, the Chicago, United States Marine Corps. Ako ya hai khot ya nikhis laut so no sinigi nikhin khint enigi ni hat ishi petates la do pa lil na khint eni shidot ishint akwiche I have to deal with that. Ebene na go nikhin hiket ishtki don kha konsen. You don't have to explain it to me. Kwat es laut so no sinigi na khiguna yaha khot ya this laut so kalpe na hot ige abahazaniye Navajo Nation Veterans Act will yehege hajoben onish sa bis zohoge hajobi dot zo beso nihitet ahagit ago ado oholni nihitet ahagit ado be onishigit a hajoben onish kwege ado da Washington et ak heston no beso nihinte to lele khalahot zado zahid ohot edo lele Ebik ahot ja khot salat so no sinige a kwede khast eteliande nizagon hikhait o wasot adon deta eti khast twido sane hanen hat ida bet spa hat nanigit a shisha masane ashit khatis ziso sai natza bitshando bilijbe shteho na bishpa beza ishkhaho ahot aod ja isangi natza ebik ahot shilpazen dide khast twi khalchin sane khalchin and that I has three Nazis and I sani Nazis ashil bahazen. I don't I kujit the quishi benefits the holonigi a comic had a hulia a conde kisen so the ashes as the topic as that now a hot audition masanet hatit zis so epic go a ko halahot zahe ani hikon last quido sani bada hayani a hot old need hey to zide oh what edolid Dozahi, Gyala, Farmington, Shanto, and the page, the day, has Quido Sani, but I Yanigi, a yun soko that ya a peso yet, ani hishetanit. It's our responsibility, it's our role in our mission to take care of our elders. I don't that said kedo jikate, oh, you baby, nahot, asai, beto da akun zenda, do bezad ye yastkita, bekontat el klebe honeshkiset khane. Ado net and legend et ishidan net o akonet oto jope nanit hinda oto jo sho he che wish yajin jonon zat bohos atot obeti nida opa net idot opa git lo hajoya he khoya hajot en nandenit hil kwet yande the neck echo pitch yeltio benanit hino akot ade be khadi kha jot ade benanit hino hot ega.
Thank you very much. Candidate Boo Nigrin, same question.
Yarat shidne aro da isno sainde bu Nigrin ne dini be nashade kirigi heto mansin kes khale to le tesno nandal nishigi estwido sani do nindal te hido salat sobaka deal was atina kha di da hot ehigi do ya atkhes nishe het o sahot o di li nenegi Shibansis case 8 the nea si bas ada hozenigi the net da job paigi do the nea si yidanes trying hot enigi shandaz nistole bininadish nenigi si yego kides estuido sani biche na hote hawanda inda tinhida the kuigo shin kilna na just khait end biche na hote di hajob bas ada hozenigi shandaz nishwa hot obinda di nishin somansis case aro les last so nenigi jaita the kuigo shi Sad hodis do bayat ki not ani dan linigi yeshilton dahal nego denen linigi dene yos agi do ni do watigi job paigi hunen dis keton khayas ke do le nenigi da dil nis so vansis kesaro kedigi ani nal tehigi yush nada kha khalet ola njgono is howan nada shtalen do desh wasena nish atten do ben ye is khaygi si yego shaha ada noda shichen nada kha Eda hajoda yego peso njono bandas nilodo satatzen nachabahoda yago bohone zan hoden abin de inzon hoden ndaz go bigan so bansis case. So again, I think that really implement policies and procedures to really make things more effective is to implement strategies to put the right people in place that are competent, passionate, and number one, they got to have the heart to serve. Every single day, that's the job of the Navajo Nation president and the staff of the Navajo people is to serve the people. So as your leader, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that employees of the Navajo Nation are doing what they need to do and that they're motivated and they have the right resources to get things accomplished because Our youth need it. They need a loan forgiveness program. They need facilities to do programs after school because a lot of our youth are lost and they want to figure things out, and we want to provide them opportunities to fulfill themselves before they get in trouble. And then our veterans, again, I've stated it at the Veterans Presidential Forum that we do need a veterans director that understands Navajo and that understands what it takes to have a passionate heart for the people. So that's one of the things that we're going to work on. The other thing is our elders. Our elders, everywhere I go, our elders say, senior centers. Our senior centers need funding. Our senior center workers' wages need to be increased, and that's something that we are going to work on. So, Dr. Bu Nigrin,
Thank you very much. We're going to be moving into our individual response. Jasmine will be asking questions to each individual candidate. Candidates, you have 1 minute to respond. Jasmine, a question for Greg Bigman, please.
A large number of our Navajo people have intermarried throughout their generations. How will you address the federal blood quantum requirements that excludes the Navajos who will no longer meet blood quantum when our Navajo culture is based on a mother's clan identification?
Testing. Blood quantum has to do about your right to be Navajo. So what this means is that this is not up for the legislative branch or the president's or the executive branch to figure that out. You want to know who has that voice? The people. Very simple. If you want to change the blood quantum, this needs to be a referendum idea that is put to the people to a vote. Because ultimately, when you change the blood quantum, what changes is your right. So having the blood quantum being passed by legislation or approved by the president would be a violation of that right. So and when I am president and this question comes up, the vote will go to the people. Very simple.
Thank you very much. Jasmine, question for Justin Jones.
Elders, youth, and veterans suffer from higher rates of mental and behavioral health problems. Describe your plan for addressing the increase in social, emotional, mental health issues as a result of the pandemic's ongoing lockdowns, loss of loved ones, and job loss.
Copenhagen kidige asa in lenigi yenne wadliga bennet naz usually nebenet sani dos twibenet naz na reis twiba da hayanda adebet asasen tad wadine binni has twido sani lenigi ebenenat ani hiba da hulia shechit do nesleta selkejk kwege benaz lenigi ben case ba an bennet naz so sa yo da bet is che. Some come from single parents. Some of them, their fathers and their mothers, at kidan laho kotabila. Adot hidabet ilya so banda stones, they're sexually assaulted. E kotatza nihitsil kejuked and lini eben naz abenina da atladon da alto to find comfort. Kodie ede akwechas anige bebekait or what? Kwe the neck echo sotizen dosen. Ado the neck echo not in kini bebekait or salatso tsitabeliket.
Thank you very much. We're going to be moving on to our third group in leadership category. So there'll be one question for all the group, which will be Kevin Cody, Leslie Sosi, Rosanna Jumbo Finch, and Emily Earlson. Question will be given by Rita Capitan. Ms. Capitan, go ahead and pose your question. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do a follow-up back here. Previous question. Bu Nigrin, could you please give your 1 minute response? I'm sorry, I do apologize for that.
Navajos with special needs, including disabilities, tend to be overlooked in many funding decisions. What is your plan to be more inclusive and responsive to their unique needs?
Romances case in le peso that ahigido halet all benta to nishigi e hajon on do balaho biga pichida that aho e bigan somances case jo asi ade benta to nishigi be oho e ade be oho the nebanda an nishlin somances case could the never and ada so sabe an khayash kitolin an khayash khana inch khatole shohe khode dido peso biga ta halet ola hajos beso nada li jiho benta to nishigi peso ballah go e edesno the nenjgono Deilnisto, Betrayada haut eto, Njono the ne, you can't as Roigi, Yidanel, oh, there's no Deilnisle. So again, as if I become your next Navajo Nation president, definitely going to look into finding additional resources so that the people out there serving can do their jobs. Again, position number 5, Dr. Boo Niger.
Thank you very much, and I do apologize for the little mishap there. Going back into Group 3 leadership, question will be posed by Rita Capitan. So Ms. Capitan, go ahead and pose your questions to the 4 candidates, please.
You hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. My question is to the candidates is, with the loss of coal mining and oil and gas production, the Navajo Nation will experience $30 to $50 million of lost revenue necessary to support the operation of the Navajo Nation. What is your economic recovery strategy to fill that loss in tribal revenue, and how will that allow the Navajo Nation to become self-sufficient now and into the next 10 years?
Candidate Kevin Cody, please respond.
Yat Einana. Coal mining, the economy with coal mining. I don't think we approached that the right way back in the 1950s and 60s. I believe they paid out 15 cents for every ton, while the company took the rest of the money. So really, over the years, there was no benefit. They say we had $30 to $50 million that would be contributed to the Navajo Nation. With COVID hitting, that number hasn't changed. Because with coal mining, you come across illness, a severe illness. It gives you get illness, mental illness, cancer, yoleni. Toshich oshitini na halinda hotain de sheya. Soto natsihi. Ebi ikakat. And they jitlin bakade. We also have black lungs. Shanalende ade chana de ziho nadi naho. Every 15 minutes, he would lose his breath for about 1 minute. And they said, we compensated you. We gave you a house. We gave you this. We built this for you. We give Winderock scholarship money. Still to this day, we haven't seen the impact that coal has brought to the nation, to the Navajo Nation. I haven't seen it. I don't know if the Navajo Nation has seen it. This is $30 million. When we talk about economy, we got to start looking in different directions instead of looking at natural resources, maybe creating jobs, truck stops. We look at the casino now, it's been there for 10 years. What is it producing? Where's the economy? Where's the payout to the Navajo people? Where's the per cap? Nothing. Then, hain na da no sin. Hey aje ya he ka an hin he peso aje bein de ne. It should be for truckers, it should be for tourists, it should be for the local border town people who work the 9 to 5, who make the big checks, who own the businesses, to bring that money to us. That's the mistake we're making. And let's look to a different direction for economy. Let's not look to helium. Let's not look to coal mining. Let's not look to oil. Those days are over. We need to start looking to natural resources such as solar. What else is there? Anybody else know? Hydrothermal activity, energy. There's so many other resources out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Leslie Sosi, same question.
Hello. With our economy, I've talked to many of our people out there, and I have found out that the oil in our economy at the San Juan area is really hurting us. They're talking about it. They've been talking about it since 2016, and they've been saying that we have an interest in the lands of what we live on, and that it's been taken away and being leased. $42 million could be there for our people. Where is that? I say too, as my candidate colleague there says, you know, we need to go to natural resources. Right now, where the regions are, we need to speak with our districts, our states, our BIA Interior. They have a trust responsibility that they need to start, you know, giving us what we need, what we asked for, what was signed. Our coals have been shut down in areas of where the economy is hurting our people and where they have no jobs. Again, no jobs. Go to Windarog, ask for a job. There's applications there for people who are qualified. Why aren't they looking into our own people to get jobs? They need jobs. How else are we going to survive? We can't survive on that ARPA for $20,000. Some people haven't even seen it. That's more economy. Where's all this money? Everybody's upset. Anything we do is just an extension of going round in circles, and it never comes to a complete halt to any solution at all for our people. I say it's the people's choice. It's the next generation. We need to look forward for our children. Right now, there's change. We need change and still have our culture. I believe that, you know, the twins killed Ye'itzo. Right now, Ye'itzo is fear. We're fear of change. We need to help our younger generation be out there and not, you know, be scared to go out there and succeed and be able to come home. Create jobs. They can create jobs. This generation is smart. They're our children. We need to be there for them, and we need to help them. I have learned here in the Tsaha case, Nahata Inya Sehasin. That's how I got here. The net leadership with me was coming home. Each and one of you have given me the strength to come up here and even try this position, because I myself need to go out there and help my people. And I do have the big heart for it, with all of you who have the big heart for that change as well. So I think we need to focus on all these issues when it all comes back to our methylene, which is giving children in that area with lung cancer. They're starting too young to get sick. It's not just COVID. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Candidate Rosanna Jumbo Fitch, same question, please.
Come on, Mike. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that question. Oh, the loss of jobs, the coal mining, we've lost millions of dollars. We have encountered millions of health issues. We have to be able to assist our people, those that have lost jobs first. We have a lot of effects that we talk about: mental, physical, emotional, all these impacts that our coal miners have been involved in, and how it has affected their families personally, mentally. They come first. A matter of our nation losing money, we are used to having none. So that shouldn't be an issue for our Navajo Nation. We have to first take care of our people and those that were affected, and how are we going to better to help support them. That should be our number one priority, not the funding. In order to make up that additional funding, we have a lot of educated professionals here, and walking and touring this campus here today, we have a lot of young minds, a lot of young professionals into our chemistry, our biology, into our technology, our engineers. There are a lot of young and eager minds here that are willing to help us create a solution for these problems that we have. They have solutions to help us create these jobs. They have the education, the training that they are learning today that they're willing to help their nation with. Many of our students here, not only in New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, all around are learning for us today to help better our economics, better our economy, better help grow our workforce. And they are the solution to help us to be more self-sufficient. And when we start to ask them, our younger generation, those that are succeeding with their certificates, their associates, their masters, their doctorates, they're the ones we should be asking the questions to, because they're the ones that are looking into the future. They are the ones conducting the research. They are the ones that are providing us the solutions of what the next options are for our people to be self-sufficient. They will help us to create these other additional resources. We have a lot of new technology leading into solar, leading into wind power, leading into clean and renewable energy that we can use to help implement jobs for our people. And those new jobs will help to support our younger generation, and they're the ones that we are here for, and those are the ones that we are supporting the most, and they are going to help us find the solution for climate change and economic loss, and they're going to help provide that funding for our nation. So I support them, I'm behind them, and I'm all in on what resources they need now to complete their education, the facilities they're requesting, the resources they're requesting, the funding they're requesting. Overall, it comes to our youth to help create a solution for these problems that we're talking about to help generate funding for our nation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Candidate Emily Elson, same question.
Yate. The question here is about economic models. And so there's only a certain amount of economic models that exist in the world. You know, you look at different theories, political theories. How are the British doing it? How are the Chinese doing it? How are the Russians doing it? What about the indigenous people out in South America? How are they developing their countries? So we've got a lot of talent among us. We've got a lot of thought. So right now, the US model is extraction of resources for their corporations. An example is Tesla. They're promoting pollution-free electric cars, but a key component to that is batteries, lithium, and that's a rare earth item. Only certain places in the entire world produce that. And Bolivia had 30 to 50% of the world's resources. The president there said, no, we don't want you guys to mine our lithium, Dota. And the US went in and did a coup on their government. Same thing that happened to us. So when we talk about money, currency, resources, I think we need to look at it broader. What is a market? What is an economy? Your needs, your interests, your desires, how do we develop that? We can develop it in a good way for our people. For instance, we have a lot of people interested in livestock. There's a market for that. Training horses, getting into events. The women, even the men, they want to look nice. So there's a beauty market. It's called industrial complex. A good example is the military industrial complex. 1950s, President Eisenhower was leaving office and he said, here's a warning, don't let these guys take off with this. It's going to take America into a different direction. Then John F. Kennedy comes in, warns us about the same thing. But there was a lot of money to be made with war and death. So they shot him. And since then, everything has escalated. We have military bases all over the world. We take their resources and we bring it back. The most latest is Afghanistan. So as a people, as a nation, I think we can lead our country and even in the world to produce an economic model that benefits all of us. And a part of that is equality. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to be moving into our individual questions. So Jasmine, no, Ms. Capitan, A question for Kevin Cody. Candidates, you have 1 minute to respond.
Okay. This is for Kevin. What is your plan for expansive economic development that will result in jobs creation, improved infrastructure for water, sewer, electricity, in all of Navajo, not just a few chapters?
Testing. Thank you for the question. That's a challenging question. When you work for N2A, you have, I think, about 2 to 4 years to do your training program for electrical, fiber, and water. So we're already behind. When I started at N2A, I said I want to finish my program in a year and a half. They laughed at me. They said, you won't do it. So then I enrolled in the next college, and I started taking environmental science, and I advanced myself like that. We're falling behind, and we continue to push ourselves behind and push ourselves to the back. Right now, the University of Phoenix is taking classes 5 weeks to complete a course. We're still on the Navajo Nation. We're taking 5 to 6 months to complete 3 credit hours. So in order to catch up with the economy, we need to move our education forward first.
Thank you very much. A question for Leslie Sosi.
Okay, the question is, what are your first steps to expand housing construction throughout the Navajo Nation?
Thank you for that question. To expand the housing, right now, it isn't working. I know, in fact, people are moving out of Navajo Nation just to find a home. To help expand, I believe we need to really be honest with ourselves and honest with our people of who, how, and what we can do to get those families in their home. People come home, or they stay home, and they have nowhere to go when they get a job here, and they end up living with families. And an eight family room with 8 families per room, I mean, that's over exaggerating, but that's how it feels. You end up moving in with your grandparents and other families, and then we end up moving back. I think we need to help with getting all these homes built, or even homes that are already built, to make them livable.
Thank you very much. Ms. Capitan, a question for Rosanna Jumbo-Finch.
Okay, the question is, currently broadband is unreliable and very expensive. What is your 2-year implementation strategy to provide an accessible and affordable broadband services for the Navajo Nation that complies with the FCC broadband regulations?
So what I would talk about on broadband is Dikwaganana, our chapters. We have 110 chapters spanning over 27,000 square miles. We should be able to do the math with the engineers that we currently have on staff. We have a lot of Navajo resources and enterprises such as N2A. We have a lot of educated students here. We should be able to develop a solution to where we can understand our current technology and how we can implement broadband within our nation. It should take a simple step of doing some math. It should be able to develop funding resources. We have a lot of federal funding currently currently that we have that is supporting this type of infrastructure where we can create and develop proposals for each of the chapters based on the population, based on our demographics of how many students we have enrolled, how many students we have currently in higher education, and how we can expand on these resources, same as goes for health facilities. We should be able to develop that solution within a 2-year period because we already understand who we have and what we have on Navajo Nation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're going to be going into our next series of questions and leadership. Questions will be posed by Brandon James. For, candidates, you have 3 minutes to respond. One more, I'm sorry. Question for Emily Ellison.
Okay, the question is, in this time of unrest in our country due to the gun violence, what are your plans for the Department of Public Safety to ensure Navajo is safe and secure?
Gun violence. We as Navajos, we need to protect ourselves, protect our families. And how do we do that? Each and every single one of us should have. It's difficult to say having weapons in your home as a nation. We have not developed maturely enough to handle those type of issues. We have a lot of social issues that affect us. And a big part of handling these social issues is holding these people accountable. Our courts, people try to access them. We have a hard time holding these offenders accountable. We know as Native people that our land and our resources have always been of interest to outside people. We have to begin planning to do that.
Thank you very much. Moving into our next 3-minute questions posed by Brandon James. Candidates, you have 3 minutes to respond. Brandon, go ahead and pose your question.
Good evening. So my question is, tell us about your specific skills, knowledge, and abilities in the areas of policy development and negotiations that resulted in a positive accomplishment for the Navajo people, from the grassroots level to congressional levels.
Candidate Frankie Davis, please respond.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, for that question. My field of expertise, now you remember, I am now a Dene woman, I am a mother, I'm a grandmother. I graduated from Brigham Young University, as well as I have had experience basically through the jobs that I have had. As far as infrastructure is concerned, dealing with the common person and different federally recognized tribes, as well as state recognized tribes, and the rancherias and the bands throughout the continental United States, and helping them to figure out how to fund their projects so that they can be successful, and as well as being just human. I mean, we cannot accomplish. I know we are all making promises. We say we're going to do certain things as we are asked all these questions. But the one thing that I know, none of us can accomplish any of this without God, prayer, without faith, without honesty, and without transparency. And all of this needs to be able to be recognized so that we can put all of our resources together, and I can say, well, I have a PhD, I have this, I have that. But what are we without God? What are we without prayer? I don't know. Our leaders don't. Right now, why are we in this situation right now? which one of our leaders from 1868 to 2022, if they were truly prayerful, if they truly loved God, and they really had your interest at hand, would we be in this massive situation that we are in? Problems with roads. We don't have electricity, no water, nothing. Still, and I'm 68 years old. My grandfather was in Navajo Nation Council, and I sat and listened to Anna Wanika yelling at the Navajo Nation Council to go home and to care about their people. And it's still the same.
Thank you very much. Same question, candidate Dolly Manson.
Hello? May I have the question repeated, please?
Brandon.
Tell us about your specific skills, knowledge, and abilities in the areas of policy development and negotiations that resulted in a positive accomplishment for the Navajo people from the grassroots level to congressional levels.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. Okay. I consider myself as a grassroots person. IEC8 anle Hawanda slash Hawan namaze slash trako ade yishal ado yakon de ya nahui now yahaki ancient trako kunzagu shal be yayit listen sendo be bits ado di transen ako ita ish naln dahoja nlede so as twido san ish naln daha dit au ya not ani holon da no hot on daha au kut apa kunizi do shet abo holne hikit au ina chetan de asendo nahagat apel das ko ina ani nahatla to ta holon ako kodo ta hit kha ko enlego adola yandat iniyin daha age patiyin do patitsa ako tae ba honsin lede ha de shibelakanan ta kha ade yachada ti ako kodo adola be balanda ilende ko ta ishnal banda jitin ado ya nagait nasati ya ya nagaita kwaki nikhil khaz ahara chapter wal ako ya tratnas nele translint ade ya kwaki ya ako tratnas nele bagansa anik pena anshi ado ya bohol di besh patas anbetla anish do de nabetla anishiki ein late go nal sospen atan huitit ahita dal yagi hana ja in letsaga hotsan go adonas no wache shi ya behas ani etarne akot bohol adonas nanan adola da okay di jo in le Washington betato en ilte congressman dol adel to kut ab beche yati adel to kut ab bohol ita adol to ya ba iltra ngai New Mexico State wal yahte ako iltra she age ultra benat itlinigi educational leadership wal yahki to kut aba honizi chin binta has bits isto ben bichenda has special education leadership do behas ani betatit ido kut aba honizi ad ya bikidast hiki ado on data ya kodo ya nahat asla wal yad ad nek ache kut nahat ko ya zaltan ein hinaznel jo ebik ko na huit ado le large esani dan lon hinaznel jo ebik kodo nahat ani lido le jo hot ya ko bohol ko ya sanshle yeah.
Thank you very much. Candidate Ethel Branch, same question.
Great, thank you so much. I feel like this question was designed for me. As you know, I'm the former Attorney General. Before I became Attorney General, I received my master's in public policy, my Juris Doctorate from Harvard University, and then I had been working in public finance where there are a lot of negotiations at stake Some of the negotiations I was involved with resulted in the financing of the various new judicial facilities on Navajo Nation. I served as Navajo Nation's bond counsel in that capacity. I also, after that, joined a law firm that does high stakes litigation. For example, they represented Muskogee Creek Nation in their large Indian country victory in the Supreme Court. My individual work was mostly utilizing treaty rights to negotiate protection of critical habitats or tribes in the Northwest. So I had lots of high stakes negotiations experience there. A lot of times litigation is sort of the entree to negotiations. You use that as a tool to get as much as you can from the other party. I've done that very successfully in terms of utilizing litigation on behalf of the Navajo Nation to put us in a good bargaining position. For example, I helped successfully settle the Urban Outfitters litigation that resulted in many millions of dollars to the Navajo Nation, and some of that was invested in actually buying jewelry from Navajo vendors. That had an impact on families and businesses at the local level. Also, many other high stakes negotiations. I was in rooms with other attorney generals in this country when we were negotiating our position into the opioids litigation that has impacted our country. And I was able to ensure that tribes had a really important position at the table, and we were treated equal to states rather than being treated separately underneath the states, which of course is deeply offensive to tribal sovereignty. And then, of course, most recently, in terms of policy, I saw what was happening in Navajo Nation government in response to the pandemic. That made me very concerned, especially having seen how we responded to the Gold King mine spill impact and not really addressing the needs of the farmers at the grassroots level. So I felt like I had to do something to mobilize and make sure that our people were taken care of at the grassroots level and in the most remote corners of our Navajo Nation. And so that inspired the fundraising effort that I started on GoFundMe, and I pulled in many other grassroots leaders, women leaders in our community, primarily to make sure that they were able to help me get those resources to as many people as possible. And we've successfully served almost 500,000 of our people in that respect. And so, we were continuing that work, of course. That was very impactful at the grassroots level, saved many lives that might not have otherwise had access to critical resources in their greatest moment of need during this existential threat placed to our nation. And when I represented Havasupai tribe as their general counsel when the pandemic started, I helped them shut down their borders entirely and put in place very strict measures to allow people to quarantine before coming back into the community to protect the community from loss of life. So thank you very much for that question. I could go on more, but I think I'm at my 3 minutes.
Very much. Thank you very much. Candidate Frank Dage, same question.
Kuyoshi Yashanan is Ishla. The way a year how one door, there how one bit in the shield, Nist Achanago, Dean He, Nihitsot Zen, Adon here, Dibana dot Ezidot Eyat needs not Yah Kahopenin, now Yah Quaben the shield, Natan Hall, just there what's that. Adon the Eyahit up a Hosendago Eyah Enal Soseki, Nahadalia, and Hido Hadadilia. Yaha AD Slatin Kayaho, so Nevenant, Asia Kai la disjin the beta in niche. Aroste now, just shiro de Yaha is a last so on United States Marine Corps, Tashananish Ishla. A co Aja Yaha AD is a last so needy by Yatki, Quahot, Ehegi, Yaha Aka a year, what Yahegi di Salat so be as they is end and Lenege, Abet Yahot, Egi Bijan Tala. Ako kwai yaha ebe na shao shechol just one zaho aron da yaha ebe ni na base o has it and shit no yaha beltil da sendel de are do tashit on ni nana na George to aron da yaha no gai tsagaho tanje aje chu isat it John de ade ebel kana gi ehodin ni laho anan tagit aun hiho la Ako kwagi do yaha ben del niskada hot a year one do te one beltahwil ne aron da can hal good as a last so large as a tahagito edo khano beltahwil ne I what yaha benash ne sheho aron not te hol just do shidnat ayot ahobet hidi chido shananish isla nareha abiyade ako ni na nistahadlo na di na nischago de yos yediki a kojes latin ke ya ha zodon ko che hol au ya sa be etan hodit a khata dil ne contracting officer slinde ako kwes khata ahagi ya be san leni bakai ne khot a ya hina ne shidelia aron dashte na hol jish ya 18 reise jen ha geje ya ho ano ya da si get aron da ya isa be tan hodit ahi de shnenegit a nana sakaya nazne leten ebetes gadat et khojet ne nit lenegin ke la ho ya en khas tharo le ladi no what a in hina ne stasli andil what na nishiki ni na nishite liya ka hot ho aron da na gay azeis en nas ne ligido aslao ya Washington and the biasnel the never kay na nas so gi ba khai ako ya aron da sagido ay bikedatet 638 what ya contract gi ba da slaro ho ben da shilnes what ya pen shishin gelchana aron dan khaba ho no sendole tin at da hon da setta Frank Dash da no
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Now we move into the individual questions. Candidates, you have 1 minute to respond. Brandon, first question for Frankie Davey.
Okay, first question. What is your revenue, savings, distribution, and equity plan for the overall finances of the Navajo Nation to ensure prudent expenditure of the people's financial resources? Okay. What is your revenue, savings, distribution, and equity plan for the overall finances of the nation to ensure prudent expenditure of the people's financial resources?
I don't know what it is. I didn't hear the last part.
Maybe move close to the mic, Brandon.
Yeah, could you? Real close.
Okay, so what is your revenue, savings, distribution, and equity plan for the overall finances of the nation to ensure prudent expenditure of the people's financial resources?
Thank you. Yeah. You just can't hear sometimes. Well, okay, got to remember now, my vision, that is what is most important here. And I know we have like infrastructure bills of like 3.5 billion and another one for 4 billion, another one for 2 billion, and it's nationwide. Then it's shared with all of the other tribes. You cannot find any type of, you cannot help an infrastructure situation with when you're sharing with how many federally recognized tribes. It is literally impossible. We're going to get a drip in a bucket. So, with my plan, and remember, becoming independent and to, oh gosh.
Thank you very much. Brandon, question for Dolly Manson.
Okay, provide your definition of Navajo tribal sovereignty and state specific reasons why this is important to the Navajo Nation.
Hello? Oh, yeah, thank you for that question, Navajo Nation sovereignty. Jo ya dide nat ilet ni nahas lahakishi olie nle hatashi ya nahas tweedon hizani yashi akut out daila nle welte de shi ya ade na istego akoti kwek en hikaya sa aniki dide ya kwa but babits ahon ni yet o tani go kwa en daisla ado bi yike ya kwa akut ana huit ado lil ado kwa hajo yanta kesto le to na huit ado bi yike ya ina il ido ado onde ta besetni zendo le ADA ya adobe to ya sovereignty will yahagi ejot asahi asati kaya nikilta sa anahadlen ko an hinahat ape nahuit adogo go an lehadeshi Washington. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brandon, question for Ethel Branch.
When you become the next president of the Navajo Nation, what will be the role of your family in the overall experience?
The role of my family will be to support me in that position, ensure that I have the support that I need to focus entirely on that position and advancing and protecting the legal and political interests of the Diné Nation. I have a very ambitious plan. I plan to reform our judicial system, essentially to make sure that we're drawing on our inherently Diné sovereign institutions, such as peacemaking. We have an original way of solving problems in our community. We have a robust peacemaking program right now that's totally underutilized. We need to engage that, use that as our starting point for problem solving in our community, rather than utilizing Western court systems that were not designed for our people and that only focus on assigning blame and meting out punishment. That doesn't solve issues in our community. It doesn't heal our community. It doesn't lead to long-term sustainable change at the Hogan level. And additionally, drawing on traditional governance principles of our Natani pre-Hueldi, we have the tools to advance and prosper. Those were
Thank you
given
very
to
much.
us.
Brandon, a question for Frank Daesh.
During your first year, what steps will you take to reduce government wasteful spending and create efficiency?
Akero da satana ta yaha $500 million in ke budget nde kat yaha 1.2 million honza hol jish ako kwa peso not zogi be kedatit io be kha hui liao aron da behez anigi to ndas kanz of johot out yaha job ke test do let na way Washington da peso ndenigi ni chen khota negi bejata na ko da chin te ho aron da an khini zenigi an date zo jo ko be ke test io ha jo ba ho hin zo na zogi aron da nat abanil te lo johot out hodon nil nat agin das kanz be yaha be ke test do let aron da nana she thinks at down da setta yaha Frank Daesh da non hinan shida do yeah.
Thank you very much. We're going to be moving to our closing statements. Candidates, you have 30 seconds to do your statements. So we're going to start off from this side. So, Bo Nygren, we're going to start with you. You got 30 seconds to do your closing.
Yarate aroda isno sai si hehan hildesh do di hodo shedishne Dr. Boo Nygren touchy nin shonle red me said no sha enina ganigido yegon aus taigido hodro bao biaho I edad of needle le hot egi ya huns and hot o drop bao nhandol nesto ta hot egi in dos nesto the qui gushin het zolt khande a hot in the an kinchina inch kantal yedes kan in saha case in shidesh ni a hehe.
Thank you very much. Ethel Branch.
Oh, yeah, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We are at a really pivotal moment in time right now. We have massive outmigration of our people. We have tremendous loss of language. We are facing climate change intensifying conditions. We need to ensure that our homeland remains habitable. Part of that is getting infrastructure to our people immediately. It's unacceptable that our nation continues in developing nations situations. I really want to focus on that and also draw on our inherent institutions as our source of strength. That was the strength that guided our people forward, that helped us survive Hueldi, and that could guide us into a new future.
Thank you very much. Denebinali.
For president of Navajo Nation being I want to eliminate poverty. I want to eliminate the deprivation. I want to eliminate 50% unemployment rate. I want to eliminate housing shortages for our veterans, for our people. I want to provide increased scholarship money for all applicants of school. I want to increase pay for our tribal employees. I want to increase pay for our retirement. Our retirees, they deserve it. No more domestic violence. I want to find the missing people. I want to strengthen our sovereignty for our people, our data centers and blockchain, cryptocurrency. Thank you
very much, sir. Next candidate.
Testing, testing. One of the things that distinguishes me from all the other candidates is one, that I am one of them that have seen it from the top and the bottom. I consulted with the Navajo Nation doing assessment plans, not only for Big Navajo, but also for the enterprises across Navajo. I also seen it from the grassroots of the chapters. Secondly, you talk about temperament to be a leader. I am the only one that listens to criticisms and I respond to it and I listen to it. Everybody else deletes comments, they don't want to hear it or they walk away from it. Lastly, one of the things that's very important also, I am the only one that turned around organizations on Navajo.
Next candidate.
Yad nana she yashina nishigi do legi she nihachine our children will come first, whether it's supporting their education, whether it's supporting their programs, whether it's supporting them with facilities to where they can grow. Our children come first. Our children are our future generations, and I will do everything in my power to support them first. They will be our number one. Adonana gi ni masana do ni hitche e kwa do you ni hanishto let's go. We're going to help support them and be there for them.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Oh, yat she yakoto yan hito ninigin hatten sindole. Hanson higa sazin dole, don higa inst edole. Ne nije eya alkigan di katota ekidil soto ne nijdat hanate dika. Hanson ni ketekis ni nat at ni ke na ni base no senik e hahila dole.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Hanand ada nek eche hach yaltio ada the nek eche bich yanjiltio shiden jone akot ada ilke dajditki akot ada kheda hotzilzen nikhet jenas ladon hin sekes nas laj akot ada ilke ditki ebik ahogo e yahe di jido e di dek ade I gave you solutions today. I didn't tell you about problems. Do it on here not even his nawish net hasht eda do netli ben hich has the nek eche.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Khani zon jehot out e yahanas bedi kha ani shashja je aje e yahe to the zen do khodi non has ande hot out e yahe twido sani eta testli jo e yahe bik eta det e do le jehot out e yahe dadi ne ho aron da e yahe e thodo ni thahit los ba ho nosen ashla ata nakhay go jo ba go nda leji ha kha ka are e yat e ba khani zon be nash nane khatole nana. Frank Day.
Thank you very much, sir. Next candidate.
Today is people's choice. It's the next generation. The children are our future. Women are leaders. Women have always been leaders. Our clan goes on and on and on and on and on. That's how we do it. Men only stop at a third generation. It is time for us women to be there for our people now. We are there and we have always been there. And I thank you for their time.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
I believe in Navajo. I believe that we can accomplish all our goals. I believe that we can achieve a government system that we can all believe in. I am happy to be a part of this election with so many different women, and I am so proud of the young people who have signed up for these council positions. I support you. I believe in equity, and fluent or not, every Navajo person deserves to participate in our political system.
Thank you very much. Next question. Next candidate.
I really need your support, Ashona, for Navajo Nation president. I have a proven record of getting things done. I'm not a rookie, and I'm not on the job training. I will listen to your needs. I will listen to my people. Education should be a priority. Our people should be our priority, not a self-serving government. Ashone. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Thank you, NAU, for the invite. Don't criticize one another. You as leaders sitting up here, there's younger generations looking at you and listening to you. So thank you, NTU, the leadership sitting up here, the leadership in the audience. Thank you. You know, I'm not going to guarantee or promise you nothing if you elect me. I'm not even going to sit up here and tell you to vote for me. I'm going to tell you how it is, and that's it. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Next candidate.
Yananat can you hear me?
Yes.
Adoshe yat konati khajo en hilnada hast ado lensen. Is the da what be kode nani nakhan ni oyo ya tidan hilado lata hawano elsadan his nelon hikeya latan da haskhe. Aquake ya hajo nati kato she hojuna hodot lensen. Trodan henda hodot let tidan henda hodot let ado kodosani boholnin dot let.
Thank you very much. Next question. Next candidate.
Well, I want to say congratulations to the Navajo people. You have persevered. You have gone through a worldwide pandemic. Kenda hadotle, tohjonda hadotle. No, hot abi, kadabi chini kati naslegi, a la arok ade nasko, a whole jish. We have the opportunity to bring electricity, water, broadband telecommunication, housing. You vote for Nez for Prez, we will give you the infrastructure that you need.
Thank you very much. Next candidate. Next candidate.
Hello? Are we ready? Okay. Washington, Arizona, New Mexico, they will not help you. We need total independence, and with all the problems you said, I am Navajo Grandma on YouTube, and I am Frankie Davis. I need your vote. I will be the first Navajo Nation woman president. Yay!
Thank you very much, everybody else. Thank you for being here, candidates. And we'd like to close it out with our benediction right now. So please remove your hats. A moment of silence here as I render a benediction for us. Hashin sagoy na hat ananat ito del kon hidden epa na halchuna paniki kayapa konta huis agon hidden nen hik e konta holoni jode ba hojo pa huin zenigi bennachi koicha na nani tlido del na hat a sa in sa kes at ai in na sa kon nas ne jot ai bek na ne tlado legi dishi binigia ko e tati konta da sa in zenigo konat ani in yet h koin habel kon lodo del khala ko hashin sagoy at edo the benaya that any get the coin have a hundred given natural yat a hawan de crato yat a hawan de ni crato let diven natural the schnedo let hojonastly. Thank you very much.